Aloha and welcome, guys. I got a puppy sitting over here on the side right now behaving, and I just realized as I was doing that, hello, you want to say hi? Yeah, she got into all sorts of trouble earlier today. She got half a bath, put it so, oh, that's why you're acting up. So, I just noticed literally as I hit the button that, hey, stop it. I noticed that Battissimo is on strike again, so I will fix that as we get talking and try to get it fixed as quickly as possible because Battissimo just likes to have a nice treatment once in a while because Battissimo is a pain in the something or other. So how are you guys doing, gang? We made it to Friday. We made it all the way to Friday, thank God. I don't know about you guys this weekend. I've got a craft fair on Sunday, and tomorrow we were thinking about either playing games or going to the pet expo. Not sure. Or I may just hang around home because it would be nice to have a day off. It would be really nice to have a day off right now. So let me just real quickly hit this here so we can, okay, hopefully Battissimo will behave itself in a couple more minutes here. And also, let's say hi to a couple people in chat because Seal was first in chat, gang. Hey, Seal, how you doing, my dear? Oh my God, I have had so much fun looking, anyhow, separately. By the way, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy last night. Really good. If you like Marvel movies, Guardians was good. I cried. I literally cried in another, yeah. Okay, it doesn't take much to get me crying in the middle of a live, but yeah, I did cry during a live, definitely. But yeah, okay, anyhow, my mind's all over the place. Butterfly kisses, love you, my dear. And yeah, some days you were talking about how it's a rough time. Yeah, sometimes, I don't know. I think it's a full moon, isn't it? I think someone was saying it was a full moon. I forgot to look up in the sky last night. And but it seems like everything is going nuts right now. It really, honestly, for the last 2 weeks or so, it just feels like nuts. The world has gone crazy. That's all. And who we got? PJ here. Hey, PJ. Welcome. PJ, I can't wait to hear from you on this one. This idea of radical acceptance was actually totally new to me today. And so I was kind of looking around, and there's a couple channels I go to for some ideas, and this popped up in one. I was like, I've actually never heard of radical acceptance. So I did a real quick education job on it real quickly. Yeah, I need to do a lot more than what I've done, but it was really interesting. So we'll have to see what your thoughts are on this, because I know you've got a lot of good information on mental health stuff also. And so let's see where we go. So I think that's who we got. We got some other people popping into chat. We will be doing Cantina tonight also, just FYI. I may try to do a duo stream between Twitch and YouTube. I've never done that before, but I've been watching people on Twitch. Twitch was my home from the beginning. I never streamed, but I always watched lives there. And I've just never gone, and I realized how easy it is to connect the two. So I just did that. Yes, weather, moon. I swear with full moons in my facilities during full moon, I actually tracked it. Our falls would go up, behaviors would go up, especially dementia-based behaviors went through the roof during all this time. It's just, and then I also know someone was talking in another group about we've got Mercury in retrograde in Taurus, I think it was. I don't know much about astrology, but anytime Mercury is in retrograde, I basically put on full force life vest, seat belts, everything in the world to get me through it. So, butterfly kit, yeah, anniversary. Anniversaries, for those of you who have had to deal with anniversaries in the past, sometimes you don't even need to know about the anniversary. It just, I remember with me, I have a certain anniversary that every year, right around, okay, the end of March, I won't even be thinking about stuff, and it pops up, and all of a sudden I'll be like, why am I everything's so sore with me? I jump at everything and all. What's going, and then I'll look at the date, and I'm usually 2 days before that. It never fails. It's just, yeah, it's amazing how that tends to work out that way. So anyhow, let's do this. I am going to start talking about the idea. First of all, just FYI to everyone, y'all know we are talking mental health. Mental health can come up with some triggering times, so please remember 988. Please remember that. Make the phone call if you need to make the phone call. There's nothing wrong with actually doing that. In fact, if anything, it shows how much you care and love yourself, and you are your best friend at that point. Because sometimes we just need that third person to talk to. So radical acceptance. We're going to kind of slide into this one a little quicker today. As I mentioned, I was kind of going around looking for a subject for today. I'd been thinking about some different things, and I came across this thing, a video about hard truths and stuff and things that we have to accept. And I was thinking back to a discussion I was having with Mom again, actually, now that I think about it, was with Mom about how sometimes we get stuck with certain ideas in our head. Okay, and we're like, oh, but I'm going to keep fighting towards this because, okay, this is just the way things are, and I can make the changes for stuff, all sorts of stuff like that. And a lot of times you can't make those changes. What instead is happening is you're pulling it inside and you're getting more and more upset because you have really no control over it. Certain things in life we don't have control over. As much as we want to say we do, we don't. Hey, Sleuth. Hey. Welcome, my dear. So, yeah, PJ's favorite quote, do not get mad about things you cannot control, which is the hardest to do. Exactly. And I mean, I actually, the last 2 days, got into a big disagreement with someone over the whole fact of, they were taking things very personally. And I'm like, I don't mean this personally. And I'm sitting there getting more and more upset and getting more angry with myself, angry at them and stuff. And I'm like, wait, this is not me. This is something they've got to come to terms with themselves. And all I can do is explain where I'm coming from on these things. So radical acceptance, as I started going through that, I learned this new word, radical acceptance. Totally new thought process for me. It makes sense. Take life not a right, or was it? And also, but amazing. Yes, I was, by the way, Sleuth Mom, I told Sleuth Mom this. I told myself once I got the thumbnail for this done, I was going to go listen in on hers. I got it done, and she had literally just finished her live 15 minutes before. So yeah, I was mad at myself there. So it never fails. It always works that way. So anyhow, what is radical acceptance? Okay, radical acceptance basically is accepting situations you have no control over without judging them. So you can think about times in your life where maybe something happened, and a lot of times, like I said, we are our worst enemies. We will get down on ourselves like crazy and because we're thinking we can control all these things. Sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is to just accept something that has happened in our lives. It's, if you're looking at trauma, for example, Sleuth, I'm hoping that's going to work. I just changed it, and yes, it did work. Battissimo's working, thank God. And, yeah, Battissimo, I just have to accept is going to be a pain in the butt sometimes. But, a lot of times we get something, maybe something happens. Maybe if you're coming from a trauma background, you get into this thing that you can change how you react to things. You can change, a situation. And sometimes we truly just can't. It's something that is out of our ability to change. So with radical acceptance, and we're going to talk where it came from and stuff like that, but it's this idea that we can control, we don't have control over something. So we can let it go without having to worry about judging everything, why we're having to let it go. And, well, if we had just done this different, we wouldn't have had to do that, all those things. And in the end, what this does is it reduces the suffering that is being caused by that emotion. And if it is something, for example, you're a perfectionist and you're expecting that everything is gonna, you do a presentation and something goes wrong in it, you're going to have to accept, you know what, no matter how good you prepared, how well you prepared, how much you studied, all these things, there are going to be some people, for example, who are never going to be happy with what you do. We've all known that boss who is never happy with everything, no matter what we try. Okay, so in accepting that, it's recognizing, you know what, you can accept it without the judgment connected to it, which in the end stops us from that rotating thing, that whole cycle of getting upset at ourselves, getting mad at ourselves, letting the emotions get out of control. Here on YouTube, when crap hits the ceiling on YouTube, and sometimes you don't have control over stuff. You got trolls that come in, you've got this, you've got that. Yes, you can block and stuff like that, but it doesn't prevent things from happening. At some point, you have to just let go and just know that certain things are going to happen. And now, where does it come from? So it comes from basically our idea that we're dealing with here is that suffering does not come from pain. It comes from our attachment to pain. So say you were abused as a child or DV as an adult or something like that. We continue, especially those of us who are logic-brained, like to find all these solutions to it so we can deal with it and never have it hurt us anymore. Okay, the suffering is not coming from the pain of what happened to us. The reason why we suffer from all these memories and all is the attachment to the pain, the emotions that it connects with. Yet if we make the decision that, okay, this is something that happened in my past, I can't do anything to change it. All I can do is look at how I'm going to move on from here. Then we're able to make that separation between it and realize that we have worked our way through all the emotions that were there, and we accept that it happened. There's nothing we can do about it and change it, but we're going to move forward now. You find yourself, you can watch your thoughts and your feelings. Okay. Hey, Wyoming. Hello, 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 Wyoming. So how can you find when you are starting to get stuck? You're stuck on that merry-go-round of emotions. Okay, look at how you are behaving with things. Okay, how you are accepting news, how you are accepting relationships, what people say, things like that. Do you find yourself seeing something that happens and then you question that and then you find yourself getting worse and then worse? Maybe someone, all they do is say to you, okay, that, oh, well, why didn't you say hi to me the other day? Do you not like me anymore? We run into that. I've multiple times had to go up to friends. In fact, I used to go to Living Like Phoenix all the time. Are you upset? And she's like, no, I'm just busy. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so we do that, okay? And I've made promises with my friends. If I ever start thinking something, I will go to them and ask them point out. Because if I hold it inside, my mind goes from one step to another step to another step. And before you know, I am spiraling downwards, where my mind and all the emotions are coming in together and they're attacking each other. And there was nothing there to begin with. But because I'm allowing my brain to go further and further on it, it becomes bigger and bigger. PJ is saying, yes, the emotions, you got to learn to think with critical thinking side, not just exact. And that's actually really good way to put it right there. In the bushes. Hey, girl. A lot of times when something happens to us, okay, maybe we hear a rumor about ourselves or stuff like that, we tend to jump. Our emotions take control immediately. rather than allowing that analytical side. Hey, aloha, welcome Sheila from Tennessee. Yes. Oh my God, that is gorgeous. Tennessee is absolutely gorgeous. It's one place I drove through when I was a little girl, and oh, I still to this day remember driving through just gorgeous areas out there. So welcome, welcome. So taking that moment to just sit there when you start feeling these emotions that are starting to get worse, and instead of acting on the emotion, give yourself a break. Start thinking, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? How am I feeling? Why is this? Is it because so-and-so said this, or is it because of something else that's going on here? Start to analytically work your way through it. Okay, what becomes important to know is that by doing this, you're going to actually start recognizing whether or not something is truly important and something that you can change versus something that you need to just let go. People use the word let go and let God. I don't know if some of you guys have probably heard it, some probably haven't. Okay, but that's the idea here. Let go, let God. Okay, let go. Don't focus on something until it becomes the biggest thing in the world for you. And and knowing that when you're doing this, a lot of people will get upset because, for example, if it is an abuse related thing, okay, if someone comes up to you and says, well, you know what, you got to just accept that it happened and move on. Oh, hell no, I don't have to accept it happened. Yeah, the short version. I don't know if I know the short version, Sheila. I know okay, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I can, all that, but not the short version. You'll have to share that one with us. And so a lot of times when someone says you have to accept something, we get F it. Oh my God, I love it, Sheila. Yes, that's it, F it. That works. I like that. And also, it's good for us to realize that by accepting things, so when I talk about accepting things during this live, I'm not saying you accept everything and you are in agreement with it. What you're doing is accepting a situation for what it is. You are accepting the fact that whatever happened, happened. You are accepting the fact that someone is an asshole and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, you're accepting the fact that, okay, you're never going to be perfect. Okay, what you're doing is you're not allowing yourself to get caught up in the emotional reaction side of it. You're just moving forward. Because it's when we get stuck in there, again, the spirals start and we start seeing things bigger than they actually are, to be honest. Okay, I know me, when I get spiraling, things are much, much bigger than they really are. I start thinking, oh, people are after me or this or that, and all these other things start popping up. And so what is the difference then between forgiveness and radical acceptance? If I'm saying, okay, you were, okay, a victim of DV, you have to, for moving on, accept it. Does that mean you are forgiving them? And that's where the problem happens. People think, oh, no, I'm not going to accept it because I'm not going to forgive them for it. Okay, what happened was not right, and I'm not going to forgive them. Well, the thing is, there is a difference between the two. And this is where a lot of times I know I get into this discussion with people all the time from YouTube. Okay, I'll say that I have, in fact, this actually works better for me now because I'll say, oh, no, I've forgiven them for that. And they're like, how can you forgive them for something like that? And I'm like, well, I'm not saying what they did is right. I just have decided not to allow it to have control over my life anymore. So it's that forgiveness versus acceptance. And maybe it's using words that work better. Okay, forgiveness is an act we do for someone else. Someone asks for forgiveness. That is an act where it's going towards them and saying, I am forgiving you because it's something you need for yourself. Okay, that's why I'm like, okay, forgiveness is on that level. As compared to radical acceptance, which is doing that same act, but for yourself. Forgiveness is for others. Radical acceptance is for yourself. So you can move on, just like In the Bushes just said. So you can move on at that point because you have maybe it is a case of forgiving yourself for something. Okay, forgiving yourself for not being perfect. Okay, forgiving yourself for, okay, being involved in something that happened to you as a child because you had nothing to do with whatever happened. But the problem happens and occurs when we get in our head about, well, maybe if I had just done this when I was a child, if I had done this when I was a teenager, or things like that. Hey, Seal, welcome back, my dear. And then you free yourself, PJ. Exactly. Because once you can actually accept whatever is going on, then you are able to actually move forward. Sheila, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thanks so much, my dear. And they're blue. I like blue, 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 blue. Yes, Cassie, are you wanting to say hi? Okay, say thank you, Sheila. Thank you. Okay. And that's the way people can. Okay, give me a donation. I'll let you guys see the pups. There you go. Oh, now she wants attention. And she's like, give me more attention, mommy. Wyoming Adventure says, I have forgiven my father for being a bad father, but I just don't have anything to do with him anymore. I thought exactly. And that's the perfect example of the two of these things. Okay. The forgiveness was for him. Okay, but it does not mean you're accepting what happened and everything. But you know, for yourself, you have to be in this place of content where you're not living on this all the rest of your life and you're able to feel good. You're able to move forward. Hello, Princess Megan. Love you, my dear. Mwah. Love you. Are you crying, Cassie? Of course she's crying. And also, where did this thing come up? Because this was something, hey, Boots Mama, how you doing, my dear? As I said, this was something new for me. And I was like, why have I not heard of radical acceptance before? It made no sense for me why I had never heard of it. Because honestly, back when I was doing my heavy work, I was self-help books galore. I would sit out at Barnes and Nobles or Borders and read for hours on end. I'm like, why have I never heard of this? Well, a lot of it is because it is a newer thing. Okay. It actually came out of dialectical behavior therapy. Now, what is dialectical behavior therapy? Not sure if anyone here has utilized DBT, but DBT was proposed by a psychologist by the name of Marcia Linen in 1993. So in those early years when I was doing a lot of my health stuff, mental health stuff, this was still brand new. And Red Door Woman, welcome, my dear. Aloha, love you, my dear. And also, welcome. So this psychologist came up with this idea of DBT. Specifically, initially, it was used to help those with borderline personality disorder. However, over the years, they have recognized it can help so many more people in so many other ways. It's very, very helpful for addiction recovery. Okay, many different disorders is where a lot of this stuff comes in. And it is talking about how things affect us so that we can kind of process how stuff is affecting us inside our heart so we can move forward with our own healing. And so, well, okay, you can have a big piece. How's that? There you go. You can have a big piece. And so, yeah, this work is something I really need to do a lot more research in. In fact, I almost put off this subject because there's so much out there on it. But I thought it might be a good thing in the future I could look at also. So when we are looking at radical acceptance, okay, where we're coming down to is recognizing that a lot of times it's coming from this place where we have not accepted something within ourselves. We're still fighting something. Okay, it's something still in the back of our head that we are not happy with, and we are trying to make sure it gets solved to the best of our ability. The problem is certain things in our lives we don't have control over. Certain things we want to have happen are never going to happen. Okay, and striving for it becomes a no-win situation. So once you're able to kind of accept whatever's going on, whatever those are, and we're going to go over a couple of those, okay, couple different things you can think of, okay, moving forward that fall into this area. But people tend to have this thing where we are our worst enemies, okay, forgiving ourselves, accepting things about ourselves that we may not want to accept. Okay, we want to be perfect, and most of us do. Okay, most of us do want, okay, we have these very, very lofty goals for ourselves. And sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is to treat ourselves with the kindness that we would treat with anyone else. And so why is it, though, that we don't just accept it? Okay, if we're sitting here and we know that we are never going to be perfect, okay, we know that, okay, there's some people who, no matter what we do, are never going to be happy with what we do. Okay, there's no matter what you say, okay, this person is never going to agree with you. They're always going to say you failed at this or that or whatever. Okay, why is it that we can't just accept that this is the way things are, and so we can move forward? Well, there's a lot of good reasons. Two of these kind of stuck out to me. The first one is what I mentioned a few minutes ago. Okay, many of us equate acceptance with agreeing. Okay, you don't want to accept the fact of something happen. Okay, that something's going on. Okay, whether it be abuse in your past, perfection, all the different things that it could be. We don't want to accept it because we get in our head acceptance is agreeing, and it's not. And the sooner we can accept for ourselves in our head that you can accept something but not agree with what it is. You can agree to disagree. Okay, it's totally fine to do that. The other side of it is emotions and pain. Some of this stuff, when we have to come to the point of accepting it, we have to make the decision that we're going to have to work through it, especially when it comes to something that's pain based. Okay, abuse, assault, DV, things on those levels. For us to, okay, accept that something happened to us, okay, so that we can heal from it and move forward, we know we are going to actually have to deal with some heavy duty pain, emotional pain, as we go through the memories, as we go through processing all this stuff. Red Door Woman said, I thought radical acceptance is based off the notion that suffering comes not directly from pain, but from one's. Exactly. And it does exactly. And the problem is so many of us don't want to deal with the pain. Okay, so in this case, you just don't accept it. That's why people, a lot of times, when they hear the idea of radical acceptance, it's hard for us to accept these things. It's hard for us to accept that love can hurt, okay, or pain in life is inevitable. Because for us to accept these things, we have to do the work with it, and the work hurts. It basically comes out and it hurts. I wanted to bring one other thing up real quickly here. I forgot to bring this up earlier. Here. Okay, let me do this here. Okay, so as we're going through the idea of radical acceptance, okay, thought processes that you're like, well, yeah, but I accept all these things. I accept that I'm not perfect. I accept these things. There's certain words, certain phrases that you might find yourself using every day. And what I wanted to do is to kind of go through these, because in the end, the idea is we want to be able to see these things when we're dealing with it in our own life. so that we can make the changes that need to happen. So the first thought is some thought patterns that you might find yourself. How many times, okay, have any of you guys found yourself using these comments in your head? I can't deal with this. This is not fair. Things shouldn't be happening like this. I can't believe this is happening. It's not right. Things should be different. Put a 1 in chat if that's something, there's one comment there that you recognize you tend to deal with regularly. You hear it popping up in the back of your head quite often, or in conversations with friends. Okay, bingo. I quite often, okay, that this is not fair. How many times a day do I find myself saying this is not fair? Okay, why? I mean, this should not be happening here. It's not fair. Why is this happening to so-and-so? This is a good person. Why should they have to be dealing with whatever it is that they're dealing with? Well, it's because I'm expecting in my head, I've got this picture of whatever is perfect. That if you're a good person, bad stuff doesn't happen to you, maybe? But we all know bad stuff happens to everyone, yeah? So recognizing these thoughts and how they're connected is when we start recognizing stuff. Other things, okay, is blaming yourself for everything bad that happens in your life. Okay, I tend to, every time something bad happens in my life, I tend to sit back and I go through it and I start thinking about all the things that I may have done wrong. Well, no, the reason why that may have happened is I just met the wrong person on the wrong day. It had nothing to do with what I was doing. But I get myself into it because here I am talking about these things in my head that are upsetting me and getting me more and more upset, and how I'm dealing with it, rather than saying, you know what? This is okay. This is what happened. Okay, there may not be a reason for it. Instead of going there and trying to find reasons why it happened, or making the comment that, okay, that, oh, you get angry. So many people find themselves getting angry with the world. Okay, as mentioned here. Okay, well, a lot of that comes down to the fact that we're looking for that. We have these little positive ways of seeing everything around us. And the world's not necessarily like that all the time. Okay, so many of the, Wyoming is saying, I have a hard time accepting I'm not the person I was before having a ruptured brain. Perfect example. In fact, thank you for bringing up some examples here. I used to be able to do so many things I can't do now. Frustrating. Yeah. And that's the thing. So many, one little thing, okay, a ruptured brain aneurysm, PEs in my case, and your life changes. And in the back of our heads, we may start playing the game of, well, you know what, if I just, in my case, if I just work on my breath control more, okay, maybe I'll start being better. I'll get better again, or something like that. No. Certain things, what happened in that case is what happened to you. And it's changed slightly who you are now, okay, as to what you can do. But you're still you inside. Jet's mom, hey, loves, great time. I'm in a family mode, but here in the, hey, got it, girl. Love you, love you, love you. Red Door, you need to watch your thoughts and feelings to identify when you're allowing yourself to feel worse than it. Exactly. Angel, try typing the swear words with simples, guys. They're all flagging. Oh, are cuss words flagging? Okay. I hate YouTube sometimes. So recognizing yourself when you're actually talking with friends, because a lot of times where I find a lot of these things pop up is in interpersonal discussions with friends. We'll be talking and all of a sudden we find ourselves angry over what our friends have done and everything. And we're feeling like, well, we don't have, okay, there's nothing I can do to change this. And okay, they just keep doing this and I can't do, well, you just said it yourself. There's nothing you can do. You've mentioned to your friend how you feel. You may have told them your boundaries and stuff like that, but you can't force them to change behaviors. So that becomes the part of radical acceptance where you Look at your feelings, how you're getting angry, how you're feeling betrayed, maybe, how you are feeling like you are going to blow up at them at any moment. Like was just mentioned by Red Door, you look at your thoughts and your feelings, recognizing at that point, yeah, I'm feeling this way because my friend just keeps coming down after me on all this stuff. And if they would just recognize that I can't go out for a walk with them and walk 2 miles a day because of health issues. Okay, but that's not anything you can change. They have to accept it themselves. So what you have to do is accept you can only control what you can control. Sorry, here we go. Thanks so much. And whoops, sorry, 1 second, guys. Oh, good. I thought that was one of those dryer things, and I do not need a dog chewing one of those things. So, and the last part of that connected to, okay, relationship patterns. Okay, maybe some of the places where you might find the times when you could actually look at acceptance, radical acceptance, as compared to have it run your life, is maybe you find your spouse, your child, okay, friend, you're always on their butt. Okay, you're always nagging them. You're always yelling at them for things. Yes, certain things as a child, yes, you're going to yell at your child because they're not cleaning their room or stuff like that. But when you hear people who are upset because their loved one is always nagging them about certain other things, then it's like, okay, wait, is this something that you can accept, that this is just the way your loved one is? Because once you can accept that that's the way they are, then you can find yourself moving forward and strengthening your relationship with them. Okay, creating more memories with them because you're not looking at these negative things that you keep insisting you're going to change. Okay, or maybe you're always disappointed by the choices others make. Maybe there's that one friend that you get so mad at because you've had this talk with them how many times about a certain type of behavior. And you have reiterated this over and over and over, and they continue to make the same decision. They continue. Maybe it is connected to the person may have a addiction issue. And you are sitting there like, come on, I've talked to them how many times? I've given them phone numbers of how they can contact. I've told them how the addiction is affecting everyone else around them, and they keep making the choice to go in that direction. Well, at some point, recognizing that you don't have that control to make the final decision for them. They will make the decision when the time comes. It's good to mention the things to them, but when you're going to them and bringing up all these things, changes from trying to be there and trying to help them to where it's actually upsetting you on a day-to-day basis, and it's becoming an issue in your own head and in your own heart, and your mental health starts being affected. That's when you have to make the decision, okay, to accept whatever is happening for whatever, because that's their life. That's their decision on how they're going to act on it. Hello, Amy. Love you, my dear. Maybe you feel resentful about things that happened in the past. How many of us who come from a PTSD, okay, background with PTSD, trauma, okay, kind of push that off? We don't want to deal with the emotions that come out of it because we know the moment we start dealing with the emotions of child abuse or DV or something like that, the moment we have to start dealing with those emotions, they're going to affect us in our day-to-day life. And we don't want to do that. It's scary. It's scary to have to look at all of the different emotions that pop up as you are healing from things like that. Okay, emotions from anger to sorrow to fear as you get triggers. All these things start coming back. But the problem happens when we don't address those things, when we keep pushing them off and we don't just accept things so we can move forward, we find ourselves dealing with other emotions all the time, pent up emotions, those things that build up inside of us because we're not dealing with it. And we do know now, there's scientific proof out there now, that when you have certain emotions building up inside of you, it actually affects your body. You start having gastrointestinal issues. You start having anxiety issues. You think you're saving yourself from all these things by just not dealing with it. But the mind's not going to let you forget about it, because they are going to keep coming back until you can finally make that decision to move forward. And part of that being accepting, so that you can come together and find solutions. Maybe you find yourself having grudges. If you're one of those people who tends to hold grudges a lot of times a grudge comes from the fact that you're pissed off at someone has done something, rightfully or not rightfully, could be both ways, but you are so focused on your hate, anger, hurt over what that person has done to you that you can't let those emotions go and just separate. Okay? You don't have to talk to them ever again. You can decide to go radical acceptance, to accept that that person is an asshole, and they will always be an asshole. They're going to make decisions for themselves and all, but you don't have to hold that anger in your heart where, the first time someone mentions their name, say their name's Mary or something, and someone says the name Mary, and all of a sudden you're like, and you're just boiling over. Yep, Amy, I've been there too. And holding those grudges, that's all part of this, because there's this thing inside of us that just does not want to accept whatever happened there so we can move forward. Again, maybe it's the fear of dealing with further emotions. Maybe there's so many different things that can come into play with that. Now, okay, let me see if I could go back to this. Sorry. Let me go. Okay. Reasons. So, reasons people have for not accepting these things. Okay. We kind of went over those. Okay. They equate accepting with agreements, and nope. Okay. You do not have to agree with something to accept it. Okay. Think of it this way. If your child is positive that the moon is made out of cheese, it's okay if they're 2 or 3 years old to say, oh, honey, yeah, and you're going to accept what they said. It's not going to become something that just eats you up inside and that you've got to prove, oh my God, I got to prove to this kid that it's not made out of cheese. Or we talked about dementia. Okay, where you have people with dementia who insist. I had the one patient who would go, tell his family that, oh yeah, I got out yesterday and I fell down into a ditch, even though everything was flat there and it was raining and it hadn't been raining. Family chooses just accept things and move forward because it's out of their hands. Or to do, as I've seen other family members do, keep pushing that loved one to accept what reality was. But in the end, it's not helping that loved one because that loved one's dealing with whatever they need to. Now you want cheese, I know. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to eat these, but these smell great, to be honest. And so as you go through acknowledging these things, you find yourself, yes, you're going to have other emotions that are going to come up. It is going to bring up emotions. But with those emotions, now that you've accepted, you are able to start recognizing how those emotions are affecting you and able to move on from there. Okay. Yeah. Wyoming Adventures. Exactly. Ex-husband had dementia. You just agree. Yeah. And that's probably one of the best ways of understanding how this works is sometimes you just agree because you really don't have the control over it. So giving yourself the responsibility of having to control it is not doing you any good whatsoever. So what is appropriate versus inappropriate acceptance? Because I can think of multiple times that it probably is not good to just accept and move on. Okay, certain things may happen in life where, you know what, it's important for you to take stands, okay, and not just be like, okay, I accept this for whatever it is and I'm going to move on. There are certain times with that. And let me see, pull this up here. So what are some of the times that you would accept versus you would not? First one here would be, okay, you're in an abusive relationship. Okay, if you are in an abusive relationship, you should not be just accepting this. This is not a case of radical acceptance. You're not going to sit there and say, oh, you know what? Yes, my significant other is abusing me and I just need to accept that. This is the way life is. No, there's no reason for life to be that way. Okay, we've talked about DV in here, getting out of relationships, stuff like that. There is, oh, no problem, Sia. Love you, my dear. Mwah. Give the baby a little hug for me. Okay, so there are these cases. Maybe it's something at work. Maybe you are being harassed by your boss at work or a coworker at work. It's okay to take stands in those cases. Okay, it's not this type of thing that, okay, you have no control of. You do have control over those things. Sheila, I have decided to enjoy things as they are, and I have been much happier for it. Like something I ordered wasn't what I expected, but it's cool and other. Yes, exactly. You order something for, okay, dinner, you can make the decision. Okay, do I accept it for whatever it is and all, or do I just go and fight against it? And you know what? That might be a decision everyone makes on their own, depending on where they are and stuff like that. Another one would be if accepting, okay, you're making the decision to accept is actually an obstacle to you improving your life or standing up for yourself. So say you are in a DV relationship, in this case, you making the decision not, okay, you making the decision to radically accept it is actually becoming it's a wall in the middle of your being able to get out of that relationship. You need to be getting out of that relationship, and it becomes an obstacle at that point. So there are times that you need to, you're standing up for yourself. Maybe you're working on your ability to stand up for yourself, and whatever is happening, okay, or whatever it is that you've made the decision to stand up against is something that, you know what, it's a boundary that should be followed, and makes sense in that case. And yeah, you should never ever accept mistreatment, cruel treatment, things like that. There's no reason whatsoever any of us should take that. Okay, and there's many ways we can ask for help, get help. There's groups out there who will help walk you through, okay, programs, through thought processes, how to get out. There's apps out there, all sorts of things out there for us. Now, when is it appropriate, though, to accept, okay, accept something and move forward? Maybe you're going through the end of a relationship, okay? You're getting a divorce, breaking up with a boyfriend or girlfriend. These are the times that a lot of times in the back of our heads, we're like, oh yeah, but if we just give it one more chance, if we just give it one more chance, and we know in the back of our head that this relationship is not a good relationship for us. Okay, we've put a lot of work into it, stuff like that. And it's like, this is not the best place for me. And so it's okay for you to sit there and say, this divorce is good. This divorce is what's happening in my life. I need to accept it for what it is. I need to accept it for how it's going to change my life moving forward. I don't have to keep fighting it. Instead, I can make the choice to take control and move forward with it. The same with a job loss. Okay, if any of you guys have ever lost a job before, a lot of times in your head, you're sitting there trying to come up with all these reasons why you should not have lost the job. Okay, well, they should have let so-and-so go before me, or oh, what do you mean that I didn't do that? I did that perfectly fine. All these things, you know, getting the job back is something that's not in your control, most likely. Okay, it could have been financial. It could have been you just haven't asked for a boss and that's what they made the decision for. Maybe you weren't the best for the job. And you being able to accept that, you don't have to agree with their decision, but you accept it so you can then move forward and not get stuck in this one place. Same with traumatic events. We talked about those. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Sheila. And that's the thing. A lot of times we forget. We're so focused on the negative side of losing a job or something, we forget this may be opening the door to something that is amazing that we never would have seen if we were still working there. So being able to give up, okay, accept and move on opens you up to those opportunities. Also, if you find yourself avoiding the emotions that is connected to what is going on, okay, maybe, yeah, it just wasn't the job for you, Sheila, exactly. Okay, maybe you are feeling an argument, a fight between you and someone who was a good friend of yours for years. Okay. Hey, Cupcake, welcome and good evening, my dear. And so maybe you had this friend for months, years, and something's happened and the two of you have just kind of gone your own separate ways. But you just can't say goodbye to that relationship. Because if you say goodbye to that relationship, it's going to hurt. Maybe you have trust issues. Maybe you have, abandonment issues. And having to say goodbye is something that's going to be hard for you to do. So you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, as compared to what you need to be doing is just saying, okay, you know what? Like I've told myself before, okay, friendships to some degree are like being on a bus ride. Some people get on at one stop and they stay for 3 or 4 stops. Others stay till the end of the line. Okay, in this case, maybe that person was only there for 4 bus stops. And that's fine. It says nothing about me, but that's the issue. That emotion inside of you is hiding. So that's why you keep pushing. So no, you need to just say, you know what? I need to accept this. I need to accept that this friendship is over. Okay. Maybe we can still talk as colleagues, or, friendships have full force, spectrums. Oh, Cupcake, definitely. Sleuth, if you could hit my email in there, or even put yours, both of ours, anyone's, definitely. Thank you, Cupcake. So putting those types of things, or maybe you're stuck and unable to move on from any event, negative event. For example, maybe something happened in your life, a loved one died, and it's really hard. You don't want to go through the emotions of losing that loved one. You don't want to have to accept that they are no longer, and I forgot I had a timer on this. Okay, I'm a little behind, and sorry, my dear. And but someone may have died in your life, and you don't want to go through all the emotions of losing that person that meant the world to you. So you kind of try to put it out of your head all the time. Okay, if something reminds you of that person, again, real quickly, put up the wall so you don't remember them or anything like that, because you don't want to deal with the emotions that they're no longer there. And also, those are cases where we do need to move on. We do need to say, okay, you know what? This happened in our life. I have no control over this. How is it leaving me feeling so that I can deal with the emotions and I can move on in my life? So important things like that we need to take a look at. So what are some of these? We've kind of addressed a lot. So what I want to do is finish this live with a couple of these truths. Okay, what are some of the ones, awesome, Cupcake, what are some of the different thought processes that we would be able to help ourselves by just accepting? Okay, first of all, Pain in life is inevitable. Pain is something all of us hide from, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain. We don't like pain. Okay, if it's physical pain, you go and you grab yourself the Tylenol or Motrin or things like that because you don't want to feel pain. If it's emotional pain, people will self-medicate. They will sit there and ignore something that happened. Pain in life is inevitable. Growth hurts. Think about when you're a child and you're going and growing from 3 feet to 5 feet tall. You get growing pains. Okay, growth hurts, but it's good pain. Pain has to happen because it's the pain that shows us the good side of other things. So when we hide from things such as pain and all these other emotions, we also hide from all the good emotions too. Because if we can't focus on the bad emotions and the pain when it happens, we're going to never see that. It's kind of like the song The Dance and stuff like that. You have to be willing to feel the bad to feel the wonderful. Okay. Case in point, love. Love can hurt. Okay, if you think about it, how many times do people make this decision that they only let people so close? When a person gets closer than is comfortable, walls get put up. Why? Because of the fear of abandonment, the fear of trusting people, all these other things that go on. Love is going to hurt. Even in a family, okay? There are times that being in love with someone is going to have negative sides to it. Fights are going to happen, things like that. But the difference is, okay, you're able to address what is going on because you're okay feeling all the emotions. And since you're okay feeling all the emotions, you can make up afterwards. You can say, okay, I realize now how what I said last night may have upset you. I apologize for that, and let's move forward. Things like that. So remembering these things, okay, pain is going to be a part of life. And hiding from it only hides you from life in general. PJ said, I have overcome a lot of emotional pain. I have survived and learned how not to work on emotions. But when I get emotional, I clean it. Yes. And that's it. I mean, there's a lot emotions. When we're healing, emotions can get us. And it's learning how to deal with it. PJ's figuring it out for her that when some of those emotions come there, instead of letting them get the best of her, okay, she addresses that they're there. Okay, but she has ways of dealing with it at the same time. So next, you can't make other people want to change. Probably the biggest lesson for me in the world that I've had to work on my whole life is I cannot make other people change. Okay, I would love to be able to take my magic wand, which I have somewhere here in this room. Oh, it's way over there. I'll get it another day. My Harry Potter wand, and I could do a swish and flick and make a person change and make everything better. I would love it if I could do that. But that's not reality. You can't make other people want to change. They have to want it themselves. And the more you hold on to this, that you can make someone change, the more you're putting all of the responsibility for that change on you. And you have no control over it to begin with. So you have to allow people to make their own decisions, whether those are good decisions or not. And next, some people are only going to love you because you're a people pleaser. How many of you know someone that is your friend, but when you sit back and you look at it, you realize the only time they really are your friend is when you're doing for them? Okay, you know in your heart of heart that you're there for people no matter what, through good, bad, indifference, whatever. But there are going to be certain people in our lives that just want you as a people pleaser, just want you saying yes all the time. And it's important for us to realize that we can't change those people either. And it may get to the point that you as a human have to make the decision through, okay, using radical acceptance, boundaries, things like that, that, okay, this is not the friendship for me. Okay. And those are things you decide upon yourself. And, but unfortunately, nothing we do is going to change someone who has that frame of mind. They're always going to look for the person who's a people, because I guarantee you, this type of person, the moment you stand up and you put your foot down on something is the moment they're going to turn and go in a different direction. Because what they're looking for is the person who's always going to say yes to them, no matter what. And tied to that, there's some people that no matter what you do, it's not going to be enough. There's some people that no matter what in the world you ask, do, give to them, whatever, they're always going to want one more thing. So for those people who tend to be maybe codependent or things like that, we're right out there sitting there saying, oh, yeah, see, I'm doing all this stuff for you and everything. Okay, love me back now. No, they want a little bit more and a little bit more. And also recognizing that. Yeah, set your boundaries, Wyoming. Exactly. Set the boundaries. A red door woman, my tribe teaches non-interference towards others, accepting others for what they are, good or bad. Exactly. And you know what? Some people are going to be bad. Maybe not completely. There's certain people that certain areas are more, okay, bad than others. Okay, it depends on where your personal beliefs are yourself. And, but recognizing they are their own individual. You are your own individual. Okay, try to have the friendships. And if you know what, if you're finding that it's not a good friendship for you, you make the decision for yourself what to do as you move forward. But you've got to put yourself first. That's what it comes down to all the time. Oh yeah, Wyoming. I've always thought that at times that I had certain words tattooed across my head. Okay, codependent was there at one time. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Some people are just horrid. Yes. Oh yes. T. And yeah, exactly. So, but we have to realize that no matter what you do, it's never going to be enough for some people. And the more you try, it's not going to matter. So you have to decide what's important for you at that point. Are you okay in that type of relationship? Or are you going to make the move? Okay, accept that, you know what? This is just one of those people who falls into this category, and you decide to move on. And the last one is about our triggers. Each of us have triggers. I'm not talking about triggers such as PTSD triggers here. Okay. Even though, to be honest, even PTSD triggers can teach us a lot about ourselves. But a lot of times there's certain things we know are going to trigger thoughts in our head. Certain subjects that we know, oh yeah, if this subject gets brought up in a group while we're talking, I'm going to blow up or something like that. Okay. And we tend to stay away from those things because we don't want to trigger ourselves. And sometimes it's good to feel those things. It's good to address that subject that you may not normally address, political subject, whatever it is, because it's going to teach you something about yourself, teach you something about your ability to stand up for yourself, maybe. So many different things that our triggers can actually teach us. I've actually, even, I'll be honest, for me, even the PTSD ones have taught me things. Okay, because even when I'm being triggered by a smell or something like that, it's reminding me, okay, that there's something there, okay? Whether it's about, okay, being scared, okay, whether it is having that ability to comfort my inner child or things like that. So it's okay. You need to have your things in place. If you're doing the PTSD ones, you need to be able to deal with your PTSD triggers. You need to know how to ground yourself and all that. But don't hide from the non-PTSD triggers. The things that you're like, oh yeah, no, I don't go outside, okay, in a swimming suit because I know that's going to make me triggered as all get out. Well, no, maybe you can because you start feeling better about yourself. So utilize those things. Work with a therapist, work with your friends on how you can go about feeling the emotions that you might feel as you're going out there and doing something that normally would trigger you. You can start figuring out how those emotions are affecting you. And so, yeah, it's just, Wyoming Adventures. It's something that really threw me because I'd never seen it written out, but it's something I've actually kind of learned. I try to learn from anything, but that's me. But you know what? We have a lot to learn. We have a lot to learn, and we learn to the last day on earth, to be honest. So we're going to be going into Cantina in 55 minutes, actually 52 minutes. And I am going to try to do it on both Twitch and YouTube. Cross your fingers it works. We'll find out. And, but what are your takeaways for today? Okay, this is something, like I said, totally new for some of us. Some of us, it's something we've talked about, maybe in therapy before, maybe in our own self-help research and things like that. Hey, Oscar, love you, my dear. Hope to see you in Cantina, my dear. What do you do when seeing someone triggers you and you keep running it? Oh my gosh. Honestly, in the bushes, guys, if anyone has ideas here in chat, this is when we can all help each other out, because we're all coming from different backgrounds and all here, and I am not a therapist by any means. This is one of the reasons why I think it's important for us to learn from triggers. Because if you can't help but run into them on a regular basis, you've got to learn how to deal with it. So it's kind of like at the holidays when you're going to go to a family dinner and you know someone there is going to be one of those people who tends to trigger you. So I think certain things, understanding, okay, the emotions that you feel, the feelings that you feel, and having systems in place to deal with those. Okay, I know back when I would trigger like crazy, I used to carry around my tourmaline like crazy. I don't even know if it was truly the tourmaline side of it or just something I could grab. Okay, I did multiple different versions of it here. Just something I could hold on to, because I knew when it hit, I had to take control quickly. Outside of that, what are the emotions? Are the emotions that you're feeling from them just that, yeah, ignoring Wyoming? Good point there. Let me actually come over here to comments so I can, that's also another one. Ignoring them, pretending they're not there. Okay, many times, okay, depending how big the room is, you can. If you're at a dinner and it's a large dinner, you can go into a different area and just kind of ignore that they're there and just have certain things with you that you can keep yourself. Okay, some people will actually use the little scrunchy things around your wrist, and you can actually play with them and stuff like that just to keep your body busy at the same time. I've seen people do that. Have your breathing under control. Focus on your breathing when you're there. Okay, maybe go through that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The 5 things you see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can smell, taste, feel. That tends to help. But if it gets to the point that you're around them and you're starting to feel like you need to take care of you, so have that backup plan. It's like when we talk about Christmas and holidays. Okay, always have the backup plan. Maybe the family's like, no, come stay with us, and you're like, okay, I'll stay with you guys, but have a backup plan in place just in case the triggering becomes too much. A hotel or something like that you can go stay at. So look at yourself and how it's affecting you. Okay, talking with a therapist to put together that plan. That grounding plan is key. That grounding plan got me through so much in my life, I've told you guys this before. I had an office that had a little closet in it. And I was known once or twice when I triggered really badly. I'd turn off the lights so no one knew I was in my office, and I actually would go and sit in the closet for a few minutes because it was the only way I could calm myself down at that point. Hey, Ramblin', love you, love you, love you. So find ways that you can calm yourself down, because sometimes we can stay away from the people that trigger us. Sometimes we can't. So then we take care of ourselves. I don't know, in the bushes, if that helps, and if anyone else had any other ideas there. If you guys have ideas and you don't want to put them here in chat right now, maybe go into Discord, and we have the mental health section in Discord. Go in there and you can actually, we have sensitive life discussions. Maybe pop in there for some ideas and everything, and we can help each other with ways we can help when people get triggered, because it happens. It does happen, and it's scary when it happens. So hope that helps. So, but we will be doing Cantina today, almost 47 minutes from now. So please come and join us for that. For those of you who've been hanging out with ideas here, for those of you who are watching on replay, try pop down your takeaway for the day right below this, and so we can kind of help, because I'll be honest, sometimes what I find, what is the Discord? Ooh, let me see if I can share with you guys the Discord. Discord, just so you guys all know, I have Discord open to anyone and everyone. Actually, there is one folder in there that is just for members. So if you become a member of the channel, please let me know if I don't know you're in Discord. If I've missed you, I try to get everything there, but let me know and I can grant you access to that folder. That's just a little bit more of a private folder for anyone who wants something a little more private. And also, but yeah, join us on over there. So, otherwise, I will see you guys in a few minutes. Okay, thank you again for the donation earlier today, my dear. I really, really appreciate that, Sheila. Thank you so much for the donation. And I will see you guys at Cantina in 46 minutes. Cassie's looking up at me. So, okay. Love you guys all tons, and I'll see you in 45. Aloha and goodbye. Mahalo, gang. Bye.